Today we have a warm-up brought to us by Caitlin. She has done a fabulous job with this, an absolutely fabulous job. So I encourage you to get up out of your seats, tune in, and to actually do what she's asking you to do for the next 10 minutes, and then we'll get a chance to sit back down and go through more information and practice later on. But this warm-up is something that you can do anytime before you start a scene, before you start a self-tape. You can get up and do this warm-up. So thank you, Caitlin, for bringing the warm-up today, and then I'll see you straight after for the rest of our class.
Hi everybody, so thank you so much for joining us. We've just finished our Yoga Faith, which has connected our breath and body not only to ourselves but also to scripture, so we're really centered and relaxed and all the tension is gone and released from our body. So now what I want us to do is we're going to wake up our bodies. So what I do before any audition, performance, warm-up at all is I do 25 jumping jacks mixed with 25 seconds of running as fast as I can. This really gets the breath going and engaged in my whole entire body. So let's do it. Now slowly just rise on up. Really feel your breath connect to your whole body. Reach your arms up to the sky. Releasing that breath, letting that heart rate slow down. You gotta bend your legs, just kind of relax into your body. Okay, so I'm out of breath, just like you are, hopefully. That got you moving and your heart rate going and your breath connected to your whole core, your whole body. So now that we've connected our breath to our body, which is the most important part of connecting any emotions, because breathing is life and life gives you emotions all the time. So now we're gonna do a little exercise where I'm gonna play some music and I want you just to let your body react. This is not a time where you have to dance or choreograph something or put any preconceived motions together. This is all just letting your body be, closing your eyes, connecting with that breath, and reacting to what music is being played and how you feel, how your body feels just by hearing these certain sounds or certain melody. And as the music is playing, just again, feel free to move your body, but when the music stops, if you want, you can just push pause on the video and reflect. Feel where your body has the most attention. Were you really fun and loose and it was in your hips, or was it more tightening and like kind of angry and it's all in your fist? Focus on where that attention is drawn in your body. Do you feel a certain emotion to the music? And how does your body react? So those are things that you can do where you can pause on the little button there and between each song. All right, let's do it. So hopefully you were able to connect with the emotions that you were feeling and that your body was able to let loose, and also connect with what your heart is feeling. Hopefully that whenever you pause the music, you notice a difference, right? You notice a difference from when that rock music came on to compared to Over the Rainbow. And obviously, different music is going to make you react in different ways. So try it with your own favorite music. Make a playlist of your own kind that you can try this at home, and that you know what makes your body feel at ease, what makes it feel like tense and angry, and what makes it feel happy and joyful. All the different music can help you kind of get into that feeling, and with that feeling connected to your body. Our breath is still connected even when we let loose or that we relaxed a little bit. Our breath is always still connected and engaged throughout each exercise, throughout every time you're on stage. That's what you should always be aware of. So our bodies can express our emotions even without music or sound. So let's try and find out where in our bodies that we feel that emotion by just hearing the word. So I want everyone to close their eyes. Now you're going to hear a word, and when you can either point to your body or say it out loud where you feel that emotion from your body. For example, if I say hurt, maybe when you close your eyes and you hear the word hurt, your first reaction is to go to your elbow where you fell the other day, because that's where you have the most pain. It can also go deeper where you feel hurt in your chest or your heart because someone hurt your feelings, and that's where you're feeling the hurt. There are no wrong answers. Just take note of your breath and your heartbeat. Does it change? Does it get faster when you hear certain words? And just allow yourself to feel connected to your emotions and to your body. Fear, happiness, anxious, angry, surprised, sad, confused, contempt, content. Hold on to that feeling and focus where in your body you feel the most content. As you come back from that place of contempt and peace, where is your attention drawn? Is it in your heart? Is it in your gut? Is it in your back, your head? Try and notice, I hope that you notice some of the differences in the different emotions. Where you felt happy, you felt that maybe in your face and your shoulders, there's something lifted. And the difference between happy and angry when you feel it in your body. Maybe some of you felt the same places where you felt confused or scared. Those might be similar to you. You might all feel that come like tensing in your shoulders. Or when you felt angry, it all came from your fist. And it could also come in your fist when you're chill, or when your hands, you felt relaxed. All these different things can play into being a better actor. The body, mind, and soul are all connected. So remember, when you're looking through your scripts, or even through scripture, that when your mind is reading the words on the page, where does your body feel it? And where does it lie in your breath? Sometimes in our scripts or scriptures, we don't know what the character is feeling. We just get a sentence and you have to decide on the emotions based on the words. You can use your voice and body to express those feelings. I'm gonna say a sentence and you're gonna guess just on my body language what I'm feeling. And the sentence is, "This is the best day of my life." This is the best day of my life! This is the best day of my life. 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 So even though it's the same sentence I kept saying, my body language told you a total different feeling than what the next emotion was. You can see it in my facial expressions, my gestures, even in the direction I was facing towards the camera, right? So I came back here when I was really scared, and I was facing full front when I was on the camera, and being all over the place when I was happy and ecstatic. Those are all ways that you can connect your body on stage and as a human in general. So using our bodies not only allows you to communicate with the audience, it also creates genuine human emotions that you can relate to from your personal experiences through your body. You can use these exercises to help you express your emotions by using your whole body.
Welcome to day 2 of acting for camera. Today is another really exciting day. We're going to have a look at some things that you might know. We're going to look at camera shots, framing, and having a look at how that actually interacts with us as the actor. What does that mean for us and our performance? We're also going to have a look at intensity and energy, and what does it mean for us to turn up the intensity, to turn up the energy, and to make sure that the intensity matches our frame. What does that mean? We'll get into that. The other thing that we're going to look at today is actually learning from the best. We're going to have a look at some really short scenes from some of the best actors in the film and television industry and analyze what makes their performances so good. What actually makes it feel truthful? Why do we walk away with that feeling in our hearts of, oh my gosh, I want to do that so bad as an actor? We might also have a look at some of the not so good performances and analyze, okay, what went wrong? What are some things that we could do better? And finally, we're going to have a look at the principles that you need for your close-up. The close-up is the actor's best friend. It is going to be your best friend or your worst enemy if you don't know how to do that well. So we are going to have a look at the close-up and how we need to do things in order to maximize that moment for us as the actor. So let's get right into it. We're going to look at some different shots, some different camera shots, your framing, and understand, okay, what does this mean for me as the actor? What is it that I need to be aware of if I'm in an extreme close-up? What's different between an extreme close-up and a close-up? What do I do if I'm in a full shot? What part of my body is going to be in focus? We're going to look through all of those things. So we're going to start with the absolute widest shot that we possibly can, and that is the extreme long shot or the extreme wide shot. You'll hear both of those terms kind of interchangeable. More often than not, I tend to hear extreme long shot, but both of them, extreme wide or extreme long, are exactly the same. So in this shot, you can see that there is really not a lot of detail. This is all about the subject in their environment. It's all about the environment surrounding us as the subject. So as the actor, you probably wouldn't even be in a shot like this. This is either going to be a computer-generated image, CGI, or it's going to be something that's filmed by the second unit and by stand-ins. So as the actor, you don't usually need to worry about what's going to happen in an extreme long shot. That's something that's taken care of for you. However, you do need to know that in this is an establishing shot. So this is going to tell us where the action is taking place. What are the people facing in that moment? Is this a busy place? Is this a quiet place? Like this shot here, they're outside, they have these massive big dust clouds coming toward them, and what's happening is they're driving that action into those dust clouds. So that's going to be important information for the audience to know. As the actor, it's important for you to know that, but you won't be in that shot necessarily. Next, we have the long shot or the wide shot. Again, these terms are used interchangeably. Wide shot often means that it's going to be a much wider view frame, so you're actually going to have a lot more in the shot. Long shot just means that maybe the depth is a little bit longer, but usually they're interchangeable. So this is the same idea as the extreme long shot or extreme wide shot. It's going to be all about the environment, all about the background, the supporting action that's happening, and not necessarily about the subject. But this is a lot closer. So we're starting to understand the relationship between the subject and what they're seeing on the screen. So as the actor, it's important to know that this is all about your relationship to your environment. You're usually not going to have any dialogue in this moment. It's too far away for us to understand as the audience who is speaking. But what we can tell, and especially from the shot you're seeing here, is that we can have a look at the body language. We can have a look at, does somebody like where they are? Do they feel comfortable? Are they uncomfortable? What's their emotional state in this moment? So that's important for the actor to know. It's not going to come from the dialogue. That message is not going to come from your facial expressions. It's going to come from your body. The next shot we have here is a full shot. This is Thor. He is my cousin. I'm kidding. We're just both Australian. But we have our full shot right here. And this shot is important for the actor. This is still looking at the subject, the actor, in relation to their environment, but it's starting to give us a little bit more detail about who they are, where they are, maybe why they're there. For the actor, it also is an opportunity for us to show the audience our emotional state, to show what our relationship is to the other characters, and to show how we're feeling about what's going on. So usually your shot will include your face, you will get to see it, but all of those feelings will very much come from your body language. How are you standing? How tense or relaxed are your hands? How are you facing the camera? Are you facing what you're looking at front on, or are you facing it from the side, or are you from the back? It's going to tell us a lot about how you feel, all to do with your body image and your body position. So the next shot that we have is a medium wide shot. So this shot kind of splits the difference between the full shot, which is what we just looked at, and the medium shot, which is what is coming up next. And this is generally from the knees up. The actor is still fully in focus, but we still do see a lot of their relationship to the space around them. So we do want to start making sure that our faces are switched on when we get to this point, that we're paying attention, that we know what we're feeling, how we're feeling, what we're facing, how we feel about our environment. For the audience, they're slowly being drawn into our emotions. They're being invited into that space, but it's not super intimate yet. Another variation of the medium wide shot is what they call a cowboy shot. So this is sort of very similar to a medium wide shot, except instead of being from the knees up, it's from the thighs up. Now this is called a medium wide shot because when you go back and look at old Western films, when they're getting ready to stand with their guns out and they put their guns in to their holsters right at their thighs, that's a crucial part that you want to make sure you see in that shot. So you can pull that gun out of the thigh holster and then you go ahead and shoot it. So that's why this is called a cowboy shot. Again, for the actor, it's about your relationship to space. We're starting to see a relationship between characters, but it is very much about using your full body and your body language and your posture and your stance just as much as it is about your face and your voice. So next up we have our medium shot. So this is most commonly what you'll see for dialogue. And usually you'll start off with a medium shot. It might be an over the shoulder medium shot. So you see the other actor just off to the distance in front of you and you see the back of their head. But this medium shot is probably going to be interchanged with close-ups or medium close-ups with the dialogue. So just remember that this is almost like a dialogue establishing shot. We are starting to pay attention more to your face than we are to your full body. There's still that relationship between the actor and their environment, their space around them, but it is definitely starting to become more intimate and more about the conversation that's happening rather than the situation or the surroundings. Once we start getting to things like this medium shot, it's important to be aware that once you translate this from a camera screen to a TV screen or to a movie theater, the size is going to matter, the size is going to change. So whilst you might be in a medium shot on a TV screen and things look roughly the same size as what they are in real life, the minute you translate a medium shot to a movie theater, your face is going to be 5 feet, if not larger. Your body is going to be a whole lot larger than what it is in real life. So all of the little minute things that you're doing are automatically going to become much bigger, and they will only increase in size as we go through the rest of the shot. The medium close-up shot is what comes next, and this is probably, again, one of the most common shots that you will see. It is from the chest up, so it splits the difference between a medium shot and the close-up, and this is where we're starting to get definitely more intimate with the actor. However, With a medium close-up, we still have that distance between the intimacy of the conversation and the audience. The audience aren't totally invited in to what the character's feeling. They're still kept at a little bit of a distance. But this allows us to actually see the relationship to the other character, to still see the relationship to space, how the actor is feeling, how the character is feeling in that moment. This is shot from the chest up, so it's very much about your face. It's very much about your body movement, your body language in your face and your shoulders. Not so much about how you're standing or your stance in that scene, but it is important that we understand the objectives, the goals, the tactics of that scene, that we understand the obstacles, that we can feel the tension, and that we're starting to be aware that everything has to be internalized. We don't have the full body shot to be able to show how we're feeling. It has to come from us as the actor on the inside. The close-up shot is definitely the actor's best friend or worst enemy. This is the thing that is going to make or break your performance. So it's crucial that we understand what's in shot, what this means for us as the actor, what do the audience see, and how do we play that close-up shot. The close-up shot is going to be as close as it wants to be on your face. Granted, there may be times where a close-up shot might shoot the hands, it might shoot some action or some motion, it might shoot something other than your face, but more often than not, when you're looking at the relationship to an actor and their frame, the close-up shot is going to be on their face. This close-up shot reveals the intense emotions and feelings and thoughts of your character. This is when it's important you as the actor have internalized all of those thought processes, all of the responses, all of the reactions that you have, and you take the audience on a journey through your eyes and through your face. You don't overplay the scene. You don't shock and feel horrified and show everything massively, because when you go and watch that on a movie screen, your face is going to be 5 to 10 feet high and your eyes are going to be huge, and anything that's way over the top is going to be way too much. So we want to make sure that we're matching the intensity to our shot, that we're not overplaying, but we're also not underplaying. We still have that same energy there. The close-up shot will let you shine. It will let us see all of the preparation that you do and how you get to think before you act. You work through all of that process so that when you get to the moment, you can forget everything. You just have it there as a foundation and you are just honest and raw and pure in the moment. That is our goal. We want to be as simple, as honest, as raw, and as vulnerable as we possibly can when it comes to a close-up shot. It is not something that we're faking or pretending, because the close-up shot will absolutely see right through that. And finally, we have the extreme close-up. This is probably one of the most interesting shots that you will ever have to work with as an actor. This is what they call the eyes shot. It's going to be totally zoomed in on just one aspect of your body. Maybe your eyes, maybe it'll include your nose, maybe it'll be a little bit about your mouth. But it's all about that one body part that is totally being focused on. And the extreme close-up is often used in crucial storytelling moments. So these are the moments where we need to know exactly what's going on. It's absolutely pivotal that the audience either see this action happening or they see the character feeling or seeing or realizing something, and we get to experience that thought process, that emotional process with the character, and not just see the actor acting, but we get to experience that with them. Once you understand your framing and what that means for you as the actor, once you've asked the director or you've read the paperwork and you know what that shot's going to be for that scene, it's important that we actually understand how to channel our energy, how to use our energy, and make sure that the intensity of what we're feeling and where it is in our body matches the frame. So obviously, what do I mean by this? I mean that when we're looking at a wide shot where you have your full body in shot, but you also have all of that background, the energy and the intensity is exactly the same as what you would have in a close-up, but you're filling out that whole wide shot, or you're filling up that whole close-up without actually overplaying or underplaying the scene. We want to make sure that our acting is seamless, that we barely know that we're acting, and it's important for us as actors to make sure that we match our energy and our intensity to the frame, to that shot, to that moment. So obviously when we talk about energy, we talk about that invisible quality on the inside of us that keeps us running, that keeps us buzzing, that keeps us excited and passionate about what we do. It might be the adrenaline rush rush of having a live audience. It might be just the adrenaline rush of being on set. It might just be how you're feeling that day. Sometimes we can embrace how we're feeling in that moment, and that gives us the energy and the drive as an actor. It's like our fuel. Some days though, we really have to look at where does that energy come from, because quite frankly, I just don't feel it today. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe the day before was a long shoot and I'm emotionally and physically spent. But we have to make sure that we're still able to access our energy that day. So how do we do that? What does it mean if somebody says that I need more energy from you as an actor? Well, it doesn't mean that we just need to make everything bigger all of a sudden. We don't need to go from 0 to 100. That idea might work when we're talking to child actors, talking to children, when they're just learning about energy and they're just learning about how to control their presence on stage. But when we're talking about more mature and experienced actors, when we talk about energy, when we talk about intensity, it has nothing to do with the size of your action or your emotion, and everything to do with your commitment and your drive to get your objective. It's not about more that you can do as the actor, it's about more from the character, pulling more out of the character in that moment. And you as the actor going, okay, what are the basic human needs in this point in time? What is it that my character wants? What is it that my character is facing? What are the obstacles? What's my objective? What's my tactic? And you grab onto those things even more to play that tactic, to play that action, to play for that objective, to get that thing that you want in that moment, whether it's in that line, in that scene, or in that play. You dig into that further and you become more and more emotionally invested in that. And as you invest emotionally back into that, you recommit to that tactic or that objective or that obstacle, overcoming that obstacle. That's where we get more energy. And that's what we have to focus on when we're looking at framing with screen. We want to make sure that as we're looking at our framing on the screen, that our intention, that our tactic, that our obstacles, that our objective, everything that we're connected to with the character is exactly matching that. If it's your whole body shot, if it's a full shot or a wide shot, we want to make sure our whole body is going after that thing. If it's a close-up shot and it's our face, we want to make sure our whole face is engaged in that tactic, in getting that objective, in overcoming that obstacle. It's all about your emotional connection and your commitment to what your choice is. It's not about just pushing your energy or turning things up to 100. It's really important when we're looking at energy to also understand that energy is not something that just comes out, but energy is something that runs down underneath. If this is the playing field, if this is your line, and again, we're going to look at this more tomorrow when we dig into script analysis, but I like to think of a movie or a script or a play like this. So we have our line where all of the action happens. This is the script that somebody has given us. Our job as the actor is to understand what happens linearly. So to understand what happens at each different segment, each different shot of what we're looking at. But the other thing that our job is as an actor is to actually fill out the depth, to actually go, okay, if this is the playing field, this is like the surface of the lake, what's happening underneath that lake, so that whatever's happening on top, there's actually depth to it. And if you want to push your energy and your intensity in a moment, you want to push all of this stuff. You don't want to make the stuff on top bigger and louder and make a bigger splash. You want to look at what's happening underneath. What's actually happening in this world? What's happening in my body? What's happening in my emotions, in my mind? What's happening with the tension between these two characters, or the resolution that we're coming to? What's happening in all of those moments? And when you dig into that stuff, when you dig into the depth of the scene, the depth of the emotion and the energy, that's when we get more energy. It's not just about pushing things out, but it's about going deeper, going further with your character, digging in, finding something new, playing with something. Also, what you can do to push your energy is to change your tactic, change what you're doing, change how you want to get it. Your goal will still be the same, but maybe you go about it in a different way. Maybe you physicalize the scene a little bit different. Maybe you heighten the stakes. You want to do all these different things to push the energy. Yes, it's about you as the actor, actually how you're feeling and switching on and being present, but being present also means being committed. It means being driven to achieve whatever that goal is in that scene, in that line, in that moment, and being truthful and committed to the truthful moment that you're searching for. So how do we actually get the energy that we need for the scene in the moment? There are some things that we can do to help us as the actor to increase our energy or to be aware of what's going on and to actually heighten everything. So yes, we can dig into the script, and that is where I would say to go first. If you need to increase energy, or you need to heighten the stakes, or you need to heighten the intensity in what you're doing, dig into those moments. There are some outside external questions that we can ask to help us be aware of where that energy is coming from. One of those questions is, what do you actually do before you walk on set? When you're working in film and TV, maybe you are blessed to have a hair and makeup team that get to do all that for you, and a costume designer, so you get to prepare like that, and you just walk on set and your job is just to turn up and perform. If you're doing a student film or an indie film or a film where there's not as much of a budget, you might have to provide those things yourself. So you may be responsible for doing your own hair, doing your own makeup, providing your own costume to actually help with the setup, the technical side of things. That's going to determine kind of how much time you have as an actor to prepare and what other responsibilities you have on set versus just being able to turn up and speak. But what we want to do as an actor is look at, what are we doing before we walk onto set? How are we preparing as an actor to perform? What is our warm-up routine? Just like a sprinter wouldn't go and run a 100-meter sprint without doing an adequate warm-up, as an actor, what is our routine? What is our warm-up routine that gets us into that performance mindset, that gets us into the space where we can just play with the moment, where we can be truthful and we're not worried about being stiff? Maybe you need to stretch, maybe you need to do a vocal warm-up, maybe you need to get your heart rate pumping. All of those things will help you increase your energy before you start performing a scene. Another thing to look at when you're looking at the intensity in your shot is to remember, what are my immediate previous circumstances? What happened just before the camera got to me at this point? This is really good for a beginning of a scene to know, okay, what happened in the story just before somebody starts speaking? But also in film, when the director gets to pick which shot they're focusing on, it's important as the actor to know, if you're picking up halfway through a scene, what just happened that's prompting me to speak this line? What are my immediate previous circumstances? How do I feel? Am I comfortable in this space? What relationship do I have to this character? Has he just said, or has she just said, or have they just said something that makes me feel confident? Or do I feel defensive? What are my immediate previous circumstances? What are the stakes? What am I going to lose if I don't get what I want in this scene? And play from that point. Don't just come in cold, like, oh, I just had my coffee and I just had my water and I'm thinking about like what I'm going to cook tonight when I get home, and then I switch on and I start acting. No. You want to make sure you understand what's happening beforehand, so when you switch on, it's just like someone hit the unmute button or someone just hit the unpause button. We're already invested in that as an actor. We're already invested in what's going on, and the audience can jump right in with us. So one of the most important things for you as an actor is your close-up acting. Are you able to execute a close-up shot seamlessly, as beautifully as you can, without overplaying or underplaying the scene? And quite honestly, in my opinion, that is what wins Oscars. If you have a look at any of the best lead or lead actors or lead actresses, you're gonna see somebody whose performance throughout the whole film was absolutely impeccable. But those close-up moments are when we see the real magic. That's when we really see them being the character, experiencing what's really truthfully happening in that moment. It's not overplayed, it's not underplayed, it is 100% truthful. So there are some tips and tricks that we can use when it comes to close-up acting, and it's important for us to understand these as actors and to start practicing them so that we can implement them when we need to. So the first principle that we're going to look at is what is called seamless acting. So this means that we want our acting to look as flawless as possible. I don't even want to know that you're acting in that moment. I don't want to feel like I'm watching somebody on screen pretending to be a character. What I want to feel like is I am on this journey, I'm swept up, I'm caught up in the moment, in the truth of the story, in the truth of the character, that everything is as flawless as it can be, that you don't remind me that I'm watching a movie, but instead I'm swept away as the audience member by watching you. So this is acting that feels real. It is not performed. It feels totally real and honest. It's simple, it's raw, it is vulnerable, and that's what you want. Absolute seamless acting when it comes to close-ups. The second principle that we want to implement when we come to close-ups is active listening. Now, this is one of those moments where as an actor, it's almost a contradiction because we know the story, we've done the work, we've done the research, so we know what comes next. We know where our character is going. We know we've mapped out the emotional journey of this scene, of this line, of this whole script. But we also have to be actively listening in that moment. You have to throw away all of that preparation so that it's just a foundation for you to be able to play on, for you to be able to instinctively follow your impulses and to respond from the other character. Active listening means that you're listening to how the other actor is saying their lines. What are they giving you that you can then feed off of? And this is what brings the truth of the moment out. If you're actively listening to what they're saying and how they're saying it and what their body is doing, and you just respond instinctively, then we're listening. We're having a real conversation. If we're trying to pretend like we've already pre-planned this and like we know exactly what they're going to say and how they're going to say it, and every time we do a take, we respond exactly the same way, we're not active listening. We're not actually paying attention. Active listening means being prepared enough that we know what's happening, but free enough that we can let that go and just listen and respond. Active listening generates real feelings. If you really hear what they're saying, you're really going to feel a response and you're really going to be prompted to say your next line. The third thing that we want to make sure we're paying attention to in close-ups is emotional availability. So emotional availability actually refers to you being present in the moment and allowing the audience to go on a journey with you to experience what they're experiencing with the character. I don't want to see the thought process. I don't want you to be hearing what someone says and processing that thought and gathering your feelings and reacting to what they say and then saying something back. That has to be seamless. That has to be felt. It has to be instinctual. So we want to make sure that we are openly ready and vulnerable for whatever instinct might come up, and that we're emotionally available to express whatever we feel and to react however we feel to react. It's all about being available, being in the moment, being present, and pursuing truthful moments, truthful interactions as an actor, being that character, not playing that character, not pretending, being that character, experiencing those real feelings and allowing the audience to see that and to go on that journey with you. The fourth concept that we want to look at with close-ups is maximum exposure of the eyes. This might sound a little bit crazy, but the close-up is all about the eyes. So we want to make sure that they are maximum exposed, that they are as available to the audience as possible. People say all the time that the eyes are the window to the soul, and as an actor that could not be more true. Your eyes are a doorway into what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. And when you're focusing on those close-ups, you want to make sure you're not doing anything to disrupt or distract from your eyes. So when we're paying attention, we're going to make sure our eye contact is strong, that we're actually showing the camera our eyes, that we're allowing the camera to see how we're feeling, that we're not moving our head around too much, not distracting anything. Our eyes aren't jumping all over the place because then we lose the connection with the audience. We lose the power of what we're trying to show in that time. And we're also relaxing the face. We're not holding tension anywhere. We're not drawing, our feelings into another muscle in the face. We're actually keeping it all in the eye. A lot of people have very dead eyes. We are going to look at that in just a sec. We do not want to be actors with dead eyes. We want to be actors with eyes that are open, with eyes that are available, and with eyes that are exposed so we can see what it is you're feeling. The close-up will come from the emotional intensity in your eyes, not any other part. You can use your body as a way to gain control of that emotion. You can use your body to bring that emotion to life and to really feel it 100%, to fill it out, but it has to come through, it has to translate through your eyes. One of the things that we can do as an actor is actually watch other people's performances and take notes for ourselves. Look at what they're doing really well. Also look at maybe what they're doing not so well, so we can make notes for ourselves of what we want to make sure we emulate, what we copy, but also what we don't want to do and what we want to avoid. So right now we're going to check out two really good performances that both have different things. The first thing we're going to look up is Denzel Washington's performance in the movie Glory. So this was released in 1989. He looks really, really young, so just know it is a lot older, this movie. But it's the movie Glory, and it's when his character Trip is actually getting flogged. A little bit of context for this movie. There are black soldiers who are working in the Civil War, and they're part of a regiment of all black soldiers that have been instructed to go home. Even though they're fighting in the Civil War for their freedom and fighting for different things, in this particular scene, we see Denzel Washington's character getting flogged for desertion. He left the company, but he actually left the company to go and find them some supplies that they were not being given. So in this moment, the immediate previous circumstances, he's just about to get flogged. The leader of his battalion, company, I don't know what the proper word is, but the leader of his group is a white soldier, and his instructions are that he has to flog this man who he actually is really close to, that they have a fairly good relationship. So let's go ahead and watch Denzel Washington in Glory, the scene where Trip gets flogged.
Sergeant Mulcahy. You may commence.
I love how he just turns to the camera there, and we just see that little turn of acceptance and defiance all in one.
Proceed.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there before we keep on going. So what we see happening right in that moment is we see his character actually breathing. We see those breaths. Breath is such important to us as an actor. When the audience see you breathing, it reminds them that you're human, that you're not just this weird little character they're seeing in something. You are actually human. You are actually taking these breaths. And the way that he's breathing and he just flips off the rest of his clothes, of his shirt at that moment, is just so intentional. There is so much intensity behind everything that he's doing. And when it is that medium close-up shot of his chest up, or the medium shot of his waist, the intensity in what he's doing goes all the way out to his hands. But as it gets closer in just a moment to his face, I want you to watch him maintain that intensity and keep the same level of intensity even when the shot gets tighter just on his face. You see the shot zooming in here? You see it zooming in on both of them. When it flips back to Denzel, it is a close-up. We're just seeing his face so intense. We're seeing all of the emotion just right in his eyes there. He's barely moving at all. His face is, it's holding tension, but his face is relaxed. That single tear, he does nothing to stop that, nothing to hide it. We're seeing straight through to the soul, to his soul. It gives me chills. That is a beautiful example of everything we talked about with a close-up. The seamless acting, you didn't even know that he was acting. He was really feeling it. We absolutely 100% believed that he was truthful to the moment, truthful to what the character was experiencing. We had maximum exposure of his eyes. Granted, he was positioned in such a way that all we could see were his eyes, but we saw his eyes so clearly that it's exactly what we want to focus on when it's a close-up shot. We saw his active listening. Not that there was really much conversation going, but we saw him actively experiencing what was happening in that scene, and his emotional availability, just the vulnerability of what happens in that scene blows me away. The fact that in just 2 minutes of footage, we can see so much about his character and how he feels about the other character, how he feels about what's happening, how he's accepting what is going on to prove a point. It gives me chills. It absolutely gives me chills. All right, this next scene that we're going to have a look at is actually Peter Dinklage. It's probably not his absolute best work, but I think it's a perfect example of his eye acting, and it is probably one of the more appropriate things that I can show on a Salvage Army platform, just being honest. But this is an image or a clip of him from the movie X-Men Days of Future Past. He plays a scientist who is searching for the mutants. Long story short, there are humans, there are mutants, and then there are robots. The mutants are humans with supernatural abilities, and Peter Dinklage is a scientist who has created technology and created robots that are looking for these mutants and want to destroy them. And in this moment, they're going into a boardroom and they're about to look for a mutant that they believe is in the boardroom. So we're going to watch this and just see what we see of Peter Dinklage and his eye acting, as well as the different shots that they use on him.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Thank you for coming. With this weapon,
So we had a wide
there will
shot.
be
We
no
now had
human
a
collateral
medium
damage.
close-up. Oh, we have a
Turn it
close-up
on, the
here.
system couldn't even activate
Medium
it.
close-up.
Unless
See the realization then in his eyes that somebody in this room is not who they say they are. And I love it.
What are you?
Okay, not gonna lie, I would love to be able to do all of that. We're just gonna stop that there. I would love to be able to do all of those like stunt woman and actions right there. That's one of my goals in life. When I retire, I'd like to be a stunt woman as well. But if we go back and actually have a look at Peter Dinklage when we're getting close-ups of him, pay attention to his eyes and how his eyes are actually what tells the story, the realization that something isn't right in this room, that as he's in here and he's showing people this device that is supposed to determine who is or isn't a mutant, you actually see him like there's a little bit of glee that just shoots through. It's almost like this flash behind his eyes of, I found something and this is exactly what I was looking for and now I get to see it. In real life, it's really working. And I'm about to show you that my work is good. So let's watch that one more time just with him.
Human collateral damage. If I turn it on, the system couldn't even activate in here.
So you have that realization of
Unless
something's checking off in this room.
There's a
We
mutant.
go around and we see it. Right there, that little subtle moment of glee. If you go back and you have a look at what we see in that moment,
A mutant.
play it. There, that little smile and that look down at the thing and look back up. All he has to do, he doesn't have to move anything else, but it's just that being controlled, being still in that close up, showing on your face what it is that you're feeling, allowing the audience to go with us on that, looking down at the device and getting that reaction of, this is exactly what I was looking for, and looking back up to find out who it is. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This man is like the king of on-camera acting, the king of eye acting, the king of close-ups. If I could ever meet Peter Dinklage in real life, I would be a very happy woman. All right, so what we're gonna watch now is we're gonna watch some terrible acting, some dead eye acting, which basically means that whatever is going on emotionally, whatever is allegedly going on with the character is not reaching the eyes and is therefore not translating to the audience. So this is from, I'm sure, what would be classified as maybe a B-list movie, maybe a C-list movie. I mean, this could be an F-list movie. But we're just going to watch a little portion of the scene just so you get an idea. Nobody in this is an absolute standout. I've only watched this one scene. I have zero desire to watch the whole movie, but I just want you to focus on how dead these eyes are and what is not happening well in this moment.
And yeah, this is the land of opportunity for legitimate business, not for death merchants who distribute drugs to our children through schools and on the streets. Counselor, before your lawsuit even gets off the court clerk's desk, I'll have their stinking bodies in garbage bags and ship them back to Japan for fertilizer. Got it? And you too.
Nobody in that blessed movie is doing anything with their eyes. There is no depth of character. There is no depth of anything. There is no character analysis going on. There is no expression in the face. There's nothing happening behind the eyes. It is all just absolute dead acting. That is what we don't want to do when we are looking at screen acting. That is a not to do. The other two were an absolute let's try and imitate those things, but this is what not to do when acting. So for day 2, today your homework is to pick one of the scripts provided and record it 2 different ways. I want you to use one of the wider shots, so either a long or a wide shot, a medium shot, a cowboy shot, one of those wider shots. And then I want you to use one of the much closer shots, a medium close-up, a close-up, or an extreme close-up, and perform the script in both of those frames. And I want you to write down, what do you notice that's different about your performance, what works in one frame, what doesn't work in another, and rate your ability to actually match the intensity. Do you feel like you committed the same amount in the full shot or the wide shot or the medium shot as you did in the close-up or the extreme close-up? So go ahead, have some fun, play with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Send it to me and let's talk about that tomorrow.